Jimmy D, how you be?
Beautiful day out. Are we still going to
sometimes the association will move on.
had some real nightmare situations, and knowing how to deal with all of the situations. They're like snowflakes. You got to know, because man, Florida Talk Real Estate's been doing it and doing it well for about 11 plus years now. So go to floridatalkrealestate.com or call 888-973-7828. You'll find it at floridatalkrealestate.com. 4 minutes from now, we get back at it. Great to have you with us every Saturday. Florida Talk Real Estate. It's right here on Real Radio.
I got our cameras back up because I knocked the camera out.
What is it, 92.1 or
1017. Is that a caller?
I think it's Jason.
Okay, guys. Yeah, Jason. Did he call you?
No, but he was like, "Is that a caller?" I was like, "I think it's Jason."
Yeah. It might be a caller actually, because I was talking to Jason on my phone. He rearranged the logs, so everything should be good moving forward.
Okay.
You guys have this 4-minute break. You guys talk until the top of the hour, then we take another break, and then everything is normal after that.
Bottom of the hour, out of the 11.
Right. Perfect. Yeah.
You got
wait, what about 10:30?
yeah. So we'll break at the top of the hour.
Yep.
Break at 10:30.
Yep.
And then out of the 11.
Yep. Perfect.
The voice guy. Oh, there's Jason.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, he said he was gonna call you to just like confirm everything.
What's up, dude?
Also, sorry, I'm trying to get my thoughts together. The StreamYard thing. Everything is connected on my end. How can I tune in to hear you guys through StreamYard? Is there like a YouTube link that I can log into?
Just to
so
listen?
Yeah, just
I mean,
so
if you go to
can
Facebook, it should be playing on Facebook. So just you got Facebook?
Yeah.
So Facebook at Florida Talk Real Estate.
Okay.
It should be going. I don't know what it looks like right
Yeah.
now. I was on the whole time, I think.
Yeah, you were. And then he got off.
He did something with his cameras, yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know if the audio is playing, but
yeah, that's why I want to
yeah, be able to hear it.
yeah, I just want to see like what other people are hearing and seeing, so I can figure out what is going on. Because I contacted Jimmy, he said everything is connected
As
like
it should be.
As it should be, yeah.
It's always a bit of a fiasco. So,
Every time.
so yeah, Florida Talk Real Estate.
Okay.
And if you hear it on Facebook, it'll be the same one.
Okay. All right. So Florida Talk Real Estate.
Yeah, it's not a long one. I know they don't have a ton of time in between, but
Okay.
Are we still in this section, Jimmy?
We're gonna do that first.
Hey, no problem. Thank you. Jason's working through a log.
Sorry.
Jason's helping her with the log. There was some happened in the computer.
Okay.
And of course,
the
that
listing
happens.
agent would not release keys when,
She was
all the
so-
funds are with title.
She was so mad.
Isn't that crazy though? Like,
Yeah,
can you even
and
do
the
that?
broker, I couldn't believe the broker. At one point, he goes, he was yelling at me. I yelled at him. Then he goes, do you know who you're talking to? And I go, yeah, a moron. I go, you're a friggin' moron. I go, you need to go get your license again. And he's like, sir, until the money's in the account, in the seller, the owner's account, we're not releasing the keys. And
That's
I'm like,
ridiculous.
I tried to get Ray on the phone with him, the attorney for Trident, but Ray wasn't around. I'm like, why don't you talk to Trident, the attorney of Trident?
Because you need to make sure you're not working with anybody from that broker. You need to know.
They're going to
you're-
be on my blacklist for sure.
you're-
It was crazy.
At least it was, well, I'm sure it felt way longer than 6 hours, but about 6 hours is very
It was
good.
so funny because
That
it
guy
looked
was
so
sitting
smooth
in
in
the
the morning.
Yeah.
Like
He
I
was
see
sitting-
emails like as things are
Mhm.
progressing, and it's like, oh,
Everything's going
documents
great.
uploaded. Okay, loans funded, clear
Mhm.
to fund. I'm like, oh, all
He was
right.
sitting in a parking lot with no place to live. I'm like, this sucks.
So we're back, and then we have to break at the top of the hour.
Oh, okay, good. Then we'll do the little short one. And then,
Yeah, just do the spring, summer, whatever.
we're going to do selling your home in the BLOB. And then we'll go right in mortgage after.
Yeah, it's Real Radio. It's great to have you with us. 92.1, 101.7. Thanks for tuning in. Maybe you find yourself on the other side of the planet. How would you be listening? Well, on the iHeartRadio app. We are worldwide, and we live stream as well. Facebook and YouTube. Find us, Florida Talk Real Estate on Facebook. And on YouTube, Florida Talk Real Estate LLC, home of a ton of informational chunk videos and live streaming as we go live on the radio for 2 hours of infotainment on a Saturday. I'm your boy, Johnny C. Great to have you with us. You can always join us toll free at 877-927-6969. Be nice to Sharice, though, when you call in, because she's filling in for Jimothy today. Thanks for being with us, Sharice. Good morning to you. How are you today? Good. I know you're in there going, man, why has everything got to go bad for me? You are a rock star, and you're handling it like a champ. Better than Jimothy ever would. I'm telling you that right now. You're more than welcome to join us, though, toll free. And like I said, just be nice to Sharice, or she might snap back at you and be like, look, I'm not taking this from you this morning, all right? So be nice when you call in. I'm your boy, Johnny C. Mike Rauch, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm, he's with us on a Saturday. Always great to have you with us, Mike.
Thanks, Johnny. And I think our audio is going out live because I see a comment on here that's kind of funny.
Yeah, I know.
We're back on Facebook.
It goes, this is from PF. It goes, Jimmy D calling people morons on YouTube. Jimmy happened to call somebody a moron when we were on the break there, talking about our last situation. So
Yeah, so you can catch it on the reruns. You can catch it on the reruns.
Of course, that is Jim DePola. He's our fearless leader. You can find him with the Florida Home Pros team over in Florida. Keller Williams, the Keller Williams Innovations, the Florida Home Pros team is there, y'all.
Thank you. Yes, we are back on YouTube and Facebook. So anybody wants to switch over to that later, we're there. You could always catch it on reruns. It'll be a little choppy. Hey, I know that we want to hit the break in about 10 minutes again. We've been having technical difficulties, but I swear at 10 o'clock we'll be fine. So I want to get into two little short subjects. The first one is I just want to remind everybody, in case they didn't hear us last week, when is the best time to sell your home in Florida?
When?
Now.
I would say sell it at a high point.
Yeah, the best time to sell, right? Yeah, sell it at a high point, right?
At the peak.
Well,
Yes.
For the year, this would be typically the time, and it is not the summer. If everybody goes, I'm going to wait till the summer and sell my house, and that's when I'm going to get all the traffic, that is so wrong. It's really right now. The spring has always been, this isn't a recent thing, it's always been the best time of the year to sell a home, pretty much throughout the whole country. But Florida is part of that. And Florida always, I don't know how many people I talk to, it's always the summertime. People have more time to go shopping. They also feel like they want to get their kids in the new school system, so they want to do it right before they go into the new schools.
Right.
That isn't really the deal. What the deal is, it's pretty much February, March, and April is the best time of the year. Now, there isn't that much difference between spring and summer. It isn't like a huge amount of difference. We're talking small percentage points, 5% difference.
February, March, and April, so we're already past.
Some of it we've passed, yeah. And that's why I always say, like, when people don't want to put their houses on the market in the in the wintertime, right, because all the holidays and everything, and they always say that they don't want to do it. Really, the sellers don't want, they always say the same thing. The buyers aren't going to be out because it's the holidays, but really it's the sellers don't want the buyers over their house because it's the holidays.
Yeah.
So really it's the seller thing that they throw on the buyers. I don't want to put my house on the market during Christmas time or Rosh Hashanah or whatever,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, I don't want to do that because, nobody's going to come over because the holidays. It's like, no, the best buyers actually are usually during the wintertime because they're the most serious. Right, those people are real deal, and it's like I don't want to do that because nobody's going to come over because the holidays. During the holidays looking for properties. The best buyers actually are usually you're not going to get as many people because they're the most serious. Probably going to be more serious. Right, those people probably going to be better qualified. Right, those people and probably more likely to pull the trigger on an offer than sitting around and waiting. Than other parts of the year. So every season has a little flavor. So you're not going to get the people who come are probably going to be more serious. Probably going to be better qualified. And
probably
more likely, and actually, the actual date, if you want to know the date, this is called the National Association of Realtors Statistics, and Redfin did something. Everybody comes up with the same thing. April 23rd. So you still have time. So if you're thinking of listing your property, 2 weeks, you got plenty of time to get that house on the market, set it right, stage it right, get beautiful photos and videos. Give us a call. We'd love to be your realtor. The Florida Home Pros with Keller Williams Realty. I'm the team leader. And actually, we need business right now. I'm being honest. We've sold almost everything. Let me see. We have no active listings right now. This is very unusual for me. No active listings at all. Everything that I've put on the market this year has gotten the lowest list price to sold price I've gotten this year.
The lowest margin there?
Yeah, the lowest margin from the original list price to sold price is 97.8%. All the other ones were 98% or higher. And the longest house I've sold this year took me 42 days. Okay. But the average right now for me is under 14 days, for the yearly average. So I can sell houses even in this lower market. I'm not getting low prices. I'm not selling them low. I'm getting very high prices.
Yeah, because that 98% is sweet. What's the average?
93.
Yeah, it's like 92. I thought. Yeah,
yeah,
93% is the average.
It's very month to month. There was one month, I think the month before last, Johnny, was like 92.8.
Yeah, I had a 92 in my head for some reason.
But that's if you're the average agent, and you have your house on the market, that 5% variance I'm giving you or 6% variance I'm getting compared to the average agent is is commissions and costs to you that you're saving and putting in your pocket.
Yep.
So please, I'd love for you to give me a call. All you have to do, Johnny?
Yep. Go to floridatalkrealestate.com. You'll find the hotline there, 888-973-7828. Again, floridatalkrealestate.com, your one-stop real estate shop. And remember, Facebook as well. Look, you put a message out, hey, Jim, I need you on Facebook. Trust me, you're getting there. But remember, floridatalkrealestate.com. It's easy to share as well. Do you have something you need?
Well, I just looked at the calendar, and so now I have a new theory, Jenny. You said April 23rd. I see on my calendar tax day is April 18th. So, and traditionally, what is it, April 15th, and they pushed it back over the. But there you go. So people getting a week after filing at the deadline, get your refund in.
Money coming
now
in.
You're ready to put a down payment or an earnest money deposit or whatever on a house. So there we go.
Absolutely.
I guess it makes a little sense. Let me ask one quick question, Sharice. Do we need to take line one? Yes.
Oh, had no idea. I'm so sorry.
We have time to do that.
Let's do that. Yeah, let's knock it out before the break.
Who do we got there on line one, Sharice? Oh, well,
great.
Let's do that. Lee, thank you very much for your patience. Welcome. You're on Florida Talk Real Estate. How are you this morning? Good. Thanks for hanging in there. What's your question? Yes. What?
Hi Lee. Sorry you're going through those troubles. I think it probably is legal, and the servicer essentially has an interest in the security for the loan. So your home is the security for the loan. And I'm not a lawyer, right? So this is off the top of my head, but I think it is probably within their rights to make sure that the home is in good repair, right? And so maybe part of making sure it's in good repair is sending somebody out there, making sure it's still being lived in. And I guess there's an expense to that, which they pass on to the consumer. So my suspicion is that they can do that. I don't know, it's probably something you could battle with them about. Like you might be able to negotiate some sort of thing, especially if you're out from under whatever the financial troubles were, and you're just trying to get back in their good graces, back on standing. Forget about who it is specifically, but just the loan in general. You want to make sure that you're up to date, they're not reporting leaks anymore, catch up on a balance, you may be able to get them to push that balance to say to the end of the loan. You may be able to get them to wipe it out in general. Perhaps legal assistance would help in that sort of negotiation. But yeah, I would say they probably are within their rights to make sure that the home is in good shape because it is the security for the loan.
And do you assume that gets triggered by the couple of months of non-payment?
Yeah, I guess if there was like rolling lates happening, you know, I don't know what SPS is the servicer where loans go when they start to have trouble, right? So if you probably had a servicer lead before it was Select Portfolio Servicing, and then when you had some lates or whatever it was, they would transfer that to them because those are the guys who basically pick up servicing for loans that are potentially headed to a foreclosure scenario.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Lee, this is Jim. Yeah, you weren't right. Exactly. This is Jim Lee. For many, many years, this whole team sitting in the room has helped people with loan modifications and foreclosure defense back in the day. So we're very familiar with SPS, and that is like it's a servicer that specializes in behind payments, and they deal with all of that for whoever holds the note. So they take care of all those headaches for them that way. I have heard of people, this is back in 2012 when we started the show. I had heard of banks coming out when we had massive foreclosures and short sales and, abandoned properties. People just walked away and sent the keys in the mail and just sent an envelope with the keys and say, I quit, no mas, right?
Just walked it.
So the banks have a legal responsibility to make sure that the house is secure, because if it's somebody falls in a pool or hurts themselves on the property or something, it can. Yeah, but peeking in the windows, that's crazy town. Hurts themselves on the property or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but peeking in the windows, that's crazy town. Yeah, the peeking in the windows part, that's a little, I don't know. Yeah, it's very creepy. Certainly for creepy. Sure. Yes. It's very creepy. I don't know if that part's legal. I don't know if you could peek in somebody's windows all the time. But Lee, thank you so much, Lee. If you ever need any kind of advice to deal with your lender, we know all your legal rights, and we can get you the answers for you for free consultation. I'm not trying to hit you up here, but if you need help, keep our number, okay? And think, hey, maybe I'll call those radio guys. Oh, awesome. Thank you so much.
Always here for you. You have a great rest of your weekend. And man, that would be a little frustrating. I understand. You're like, I paid $600 for them to come look in my window. I live here. Trust me, I live here.
You should just put a note on the front door saying, I live here.
I live here. I live here. Lee, thank you for being with us. Have a great rest of your weekend. Happy Easter if you celebrate. Easter. Sharice is giving me the go to break sign. We'll do just that. Remember, Florida Talk Real Estate is .com, your one-stop real estate shop. Know it, use it, love it, share it. Maybe you have a situation like Lee or another situation. Everybody's situation is like a snowflake. They're all very unique. And there's always something new that pops up, but this team can take it all on. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com, your one-stop real estate shop. Back in 4 minutes, Florida Talk Real Estate, right here. It's Real Radio.
We are hot.
There's a reason you're not
unique. And there's always something new that pops up, but this team can take it all on. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com, your one-stop real estate shop. Back in 4 minutes, Florida Talk Real Estate, right here. It's Real Radio.
Tell your smart device to play Real Radio 92.1 on iHeartRadio. Go on. Tell it. Show that damn thing who's boss.
You know your completely free iHeartRadio app is also your home for hit podcasts? New for you this week, check out On Purpose with Jay Shetty, discussing philosophy, life, and conversations with the biggest stars in the world. Listen today on your free iHeartRadio app.
iHeartRadio!
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rauch from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rauch will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rauch, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Camaronets, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
From the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys Studios.
Have you been in an accident? Call Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys at 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Real Radio 92.1 is WZZR West Palm Beach, an iHeartRadio station.
Download the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
I'll say it again, 877-927-6969. That is toll free. You got questions, comments, concerns in the world of real estate? Maybe you're concerned about the BLOB. Well, we're going to tell you about it here in a second. Dial it up, 877-927-6969. Say good morning to Sharice. She'll line you up. You make the call. We'll take that call. Hey, speaking of Sharice, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for being with us, filling in admirably for our friend Jimothy, who I believe is on a cruise. I don't know if he's still on the boat or not, but he'll be back with us next Saturday. And thank you again, Sharice. Florida Talk Real Estate is .com. It's your one-stop real estate shop. And remember, on a Saturday, you can listen on the old radio, the iHeart Radio app. That is a worldwide application. And on Facebook and YouTube, Florida Talk Real Estate on both. We go live stream, and I think everything is working very well as of right now. It's always nice to have Mike Rauch, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm, with us on a Saturday. Hello, Mike.
Good morning, sir.
Pleasure.
I forgot it was happy Easter weekend.
Happy Easter weekend.
Yeah.
If you do celebrate.
And,
Sure.
Passover too, right? It's Passover right now.
It was during the week, right?
Yeah, it's like part of it's the whole week,
all
isn't
the
it?
way. It's like it's pretty long time. I I think my friend David told me it's all the way to the 12th or something.
I am not the guy to turn to for all the religious holiday and celebration.
But I know there's holidays going on for everybody. So everybody having a holiday, happy holiday.
Happy holidays to you. That's Jimmy D, our fearless leader. Jim DePola, I've told you for 11 plus years now, he runs a top producing Keller Williams team. Keller Williams Innovations, you find the Florida Home Pros team. And Jimmy D, Jim DePola. How you be, Jimmy D?
I'm doing good. Doing good, Johnny. Talking, last week we were talking about the blob that was coming. Remember that?
Blob.
Florida always has weird stuff happening, right? So now we got the seaweed blob coming, right? So I found out a little bit more information because I didn't know if it was coming from the West Coast or the East Coast. I didn't know where it started. Read a pretty good article in this. I don't even know the publication. It's called Inertia. But I thought it was a pretty good article, and it came out 2 days ago, so it's pretty recent. And they interviewed a lot of local university professors down here, so I felt it was a pretty cool article to read. So
that's going to be biased, Jim.
Yeah, because it's all only university professors.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's scientists, so who knows if you could believe them or
Woke
not.
agenda.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the sargassum,
what?
Sargassum seaweed, right?
One of my favorite movies, Sargasm.
Yeah.
The sargassum seaweed blob, is 5,000 miles wide, and it started off the west coast of Africa, and I didn't know that. Okay, so it started off the west coast of Africa, and apparently there's this belt called the Great Atlantic Sargassum Belt, where all this stuff grows, and sargassum could be very beneficial to the environment and habitats, because it's good for fish and it's good for birds, and it creates an environment where they can collect and eat each other and create a full time.
It's like a rainforest on the sea.
Yeah, actually it is. Actually, it is kind of like that. Yeah. So normally there's a lot of benefits to it, but when it gets too big, then you have big problems. I remember when we talked about it last week or 2 weeks ago, some of the Caribbean islands actually documented how much tourism dollars they lost, because there was so much seaweed coming across their shores. And we were talking like seaweed that was 3 feet high, 4 feet high of seaweed on their beaches. And it's very expensive and costly to clean this stuff up.
Just sargassum all up and down the
all over. And
sargassum everywhere.
Sargassum everywhere, right? And if you don't clean it up, it gets really stinky. It creates something sulfide. What is it? Hydrogen sulfide or hydroxy sulfide or something. But anyway, it smells like dirty, rotten eggs.
Yeah, and messes with people that have breathing issues too. Yeah, it really affects air quality.
Yeah, so people with sinuses or asthma and those kind of things. It's not a fun time to be going to the beach when this stuff is here, and it's very costly to pull it up. And when you have 5,000 miles of it wide, even if you clean it up, the stuff's going to be back again tomorrow. Coming. So it's just not going to be a fun few months. They have no idea. And the way that this blob is, it isn't. If you look at it from a aerial view, it's very patchy. So it isn't like a full continuous carpet of blob. It's like they're connected, but there'd be huge patches and then a little gap and to the left and a gap to the right, and it kind of looks more like, I guess, like if you were looking at a sponge and the cells were like blitz of blob or anyway, there would be empty spots in it too. So they have no idea how much of it's going to get here. The islands are going to take a lot of it from us, but they don't know how much is going to get here. And then what's supposed to happen is it's going to come from the west coast of Africa. It'll hit the Caribbean and the beaches on the east coast. And then some of it is going to filter through
into the Gulf,
and it's going to go on the other side, and then it's going to come back and hit the West Coast. So you got to love Florida. It's like, if it isn't one thing, it's another.
It's coming up from below us and just surrounding the state.
That's going to be awesome.
Interesting.
Now they also figure out how much it weighs, and it weighs 13 million tons is what they expect this blob is going to.
I think that's really good information to know.
Yeah. Are you happy?
Yeah, how heavy it is.
Yeah. Hey, it's a slice of
Wait,
Florida.
Is that dry or wet?
Oh, good point. Don't know.
Yeah, is that the wet weight?
Does that include all the fish and everything that are in it too?
That's a wet weight.
Yeah.
So what do? That's, I guess, the tourist beaches. They figure out like how to keep it away from the shore.
They talked about that in the last article we were talking about, but they felt that, what was it? because there's going to be a potentially, even though it's a beneficial thing, there's potentially a lot of environmental damage that can happen because it can choke out coral reefs and things like that. Creating, even if it doesn't choke out the reefs, it will reduce the amount of light over large swaths of area, and that's really going to hurt. So they were thinking about trying to scoop it out, but they figured it was going to be.
It's like the blob. You can't stop it. It's just going to get through.
Yeah, exactly. So expect the summer to be kind of blobby.
Have you ever seen the Blob, Johnny? You remember watching that movie in full?
I love that movie.
Oh, I totally remember the Blob. Yeah.
I remember parts of it. I don't think I could tell you the entire story, though.
Do you remember when the Blob got into the movie theater and all the people in the movie theater running out crazy?
Like coming up under the doors and under the screen and stuff. Yeah.
I remember the Blob.
Yeah, it scared the hell out of me when I was a little kid, but I was like 4.
So getting over to something a little more serious, not necessarily dire or bad news necessarily, at least this week. But I wanted, now that we had Mike back, he took a week off. We're going to talk about mortgage rates and what's been going on with that since the beginning of the year, Mike. Okay, just to put it in perspective.
Yeah.
Okay. So last Thursday, Freddie Mac report came out, and it says that the mortgage rates dipped to 6.28%. Now it was 6.32% the week before, so basically it's almost flat. It's virtually flat, but going down a little bit is better than going up at all, especially because of what's happened with the interest rates. Last year, interest rates went crazy. We more than doubled. We went from 3.11, we got as high as 7.08. And then, but then we started going down as the year progressed at the end of the year, the last quarter. And we started out this year at 6.48. Okay, so now we're at 6.28. We're done with our first quarter and then some. So this isn't horrible. Just to give you some highs and lows, the high for this year, 2023, was 6.73. That was the week of March 9th. And the last time this week last year, we're at 4.72. We're at 6.28. So still a very significant increase from year over year. One of the things that's been
it's not healthy to look at the year over year. It's not good for your psyche.
I know,
it
really isn't. Yeah,
it really isn't.
It used to be so good when we were dropping and getting down to 265. It was good to look at year over year.
I'd much rather talk about the slight decline over the last 3 weeks.
That's what I'm saying,
than the doubling from this time last year.
Exactly. So if you could get over that shock, we're really kind of like, this year has been really kind of, it's been choppy, going down a quarter point, up a quarter point, up a half point, down a half point. It's been like that the whole year so far. But we've been staying in a range of basically 6.2 to 6.5. That's kind of where we've been landed. Now, another thing that Mike's going to like, you know what I read about the Freddie Mac report? First time I ever read it.
What?
When they talk about the interest rates, that's with people that have 20% down financing. So if you're doing less than 20%, you're probably not going to be. That's why we always say these REITs are an indicator of what's happening in the market.
Movement.
It's not your interest rate.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so
I'll give you a perfect example, Jim. So say you're doing 20% down, but you're doing a $200,000 loan versus a $600,000 loan. You're going to have a different rate. So there's different adjustments in the market about like the larger the loan, you probably have a worse rate than if you're doing a smaller scale loan. That's one of the nuances.
One of the
one of the nuances.
Take into consideration.
Yeah.
So as Mike was just saying a little bit ago, it's really nice that we've had this break. This is the 4th week that we've gone down, so that's nice. A whole month of going down. But at the beginning of the year, we went up for 3 weeks. We went down for 4 weeks. We went up for 5 weeks. We went down for 4 weeks. So that's kind of where we are right now. So we're just going up and down because really the market doesn't know what the heck is going on itself. And there's so many things going on with it. Now, a couple other things is another thing that I think is interesting about this week is the Fed raised the rates last week a quarter point.
Yep.
And
or 3.
I'm sorry.
Was it 3 weeks ago now?
Was it 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, I feel like it was not last week, the week before. So 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 2.5 weeks. You're close enough. 2.5, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So they raised it up a quarter points, but our interest rates have been going down, even though the Fed raised the rate.
Yes.
which just shows that there isn't a direct correlation between what the Fed does and what mortgage rates do. And a lot of people don't understand when they read the papers when it says the Fed is raising the rate. It does not necessarily mean the mortgage rate's going to raise. Sometimes it does happen like that, but sometimes it doesn't. And this is one of the times it didn't. Why? Probably because of the banking crisis that we had in the last month.
So I'm glad you bring that up, because I've been thinking as this is all going on, I'm like, how are the pools like different, right? Banking crisis where you're talking about we don't have the liquidity, too many people taking too much of their money out. How is the pools so different when it comes to the lending side of the bank and like the holding side of the bank, Mike? And that might not be your world. I can appreciate that. But like that's a dramatic difference, it feels like.
Are you talking like why is there not a direct link between the Fed rate and mortgage rates?
Yeah.
Is that kind of the question?
that and the bank's willingness to still lend so much money, but there's like this obvious we're not holding a bunch of money like aspect.
Interesting. So I would say the mortgage-backed securities are not financed, not backed by depository assets.
Oh, because
right?
it's backed by
like Fannie Freddie are huge buyers of mortgage-backed securities, and so the funds for that are not directly linked to individual accounts, right? I would say, although they're investments, right? They are securities out there. They're also global, right? It's global securities. So yeah, I don't really know a good answer for that, other than they're not connected in that way because one of them is individual depository accounts and the other is big investment securities.
So that's a good thing to hear, because I think a lot of people think they're kind of all in the same. And I think when they hear bank woes, I think they almost get worrisome. Like, I'm not going to be able to get a loan. The loan's going to be predicated on your ability to get the loan more than anything, right?
Yeah, I mean, certainly it's the how you qualify for a loan has not changed with any banking scare, right? And so just completely disconnected in that regard. Like, and I don't know, what happens if there's a massive bank failure? I would think that would impact the lending worlds, like how much money is available in the world of mortgage-backed securities.
It's a risk willingness, right? There's got to be a willingness to risk at that point if we're like in a collapse. We're not in that world.
No.
But I think for most people, like for me, I wanted to hear you say they're not really connected, because I start talking to people and they're like, oh, I can't get a loan now. I'm like, well, have you ever checked your credit? What's your positioning? They're like, you see what's going on in the bank world? I'm like, but they're not.
Yeah, definitely not connected.
That's not the same thing. Like, it's not the same world.
And the you would see, like, the way that they throttled down lending is by bumping rates, right? So they make it less attractive to get a loan, right? And I'm not saying that's what's happening with our mortgage rates, but if they really wanted to say, hey, we don't want to write like globally, or let's say on a national level, we want to scale down the amount of loans that are written this week.
But felt like that's what they were trying to do, though. It felt like they were trying to slow the housing market.
Johnny, they did that. You remember in very early COVID days, right? So I'm talking like February, March, April, like rates went down all of a sudden, and then so there were so many loan applications, and there was a panic moment. There was a panic moment where it said, wait a second, there's not enough money in the mortgage-backed securities world to fund all of these loans that are being written. And so they bumped up rates artificially, especially on certain products.
I think like 3/4 of a point. And stuff
it went up, pump brakes, right?
It went up enough to throttle down, like to turn the throttle down on it. They were no longer at 11, Johnny. They're down to 6 or something.
Right? This one goes to 11.
So I think that's the mechanism they use to do that. So if we see like big lump bumps, that are coming out of nowhere, the simple answer is, well, we don't want to write that many mortgages. And who's we? I don't know who's making that decision, right? It's the market makers.
And we're hearing because of that bank failure, the SVB and the other couple banks that failed. So far, it looks like another shoe hasn't dropped. So far,
are there only 2 shoes?
Well, actually 2.5, right?
Right.
I think it was 2.5 shoes.
Felt like all the shoes that were hanging on the wire fell all at once there for a minute, but
so the thing is that they're saying that because of that, the lenders, the banks are going to be more restrictive in their lending. But I haven't I might have seen that. We're going to get into that next week, Mike. If you ever want to find out, we're going to talk about unusual loans, like not the traditional conforming loan stuff and what's out there right now, because I'm seeing more people use it. 3 times in the last 4 weeks, people are using non-conforming loans to get a house when they were trying to start off with conventional financing. Okay, so we're going to go in. I want to do a little more research before we talk about that in depth.
Okay.
But the banks, the big banks, are saying they were going to do more restrictive financing. That sounds like to me people are going to be creative and start doing non-conforming loans and offering it out there. Now, when was the last time we saw a lot of that? Was the boom that turned into the bust.
Yeah, well, I can appreciate. So I get why they're doing that. So they've, as Mike noted, you raise the rates, pull the throttle out, slow the rate a little bit. You've seen it. You're in the world. The housing market is not what it was when the interest rates were 4%. It's just not. It's not the Wild West anymore. People aren't coming all over the top with cash and beyond asking, and massive wars going on. It's just, that's not the world we're in anymore. You can kind of find your property and take your time a little bit. If it's a really desirable property, you got to act quick, which is why we tell you to get positioned with Mike, FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Know your numbers. But it got so frothy that the banks are now they got to be looking at like, all right, so if it's going to crank up again at these numbers, we got to make sure these people are really locked tight, because look at the bag we're holding if anything happens. How much more appreciation can we get? I think the reality is 3 to 4% every year. Right.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit of appreciation on the next.
But the banks
segment.
they're I think they're at their risk limit.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, why they said that, because when SVB's problems happened, it was supposedly related to the tech industry and blah, 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 and how that affects like the big box banks that are out there. I don't understand how they're affected enough to correlate, hey, we're going to back off on property mortgages because some tech industry isn't doing well and the banks put their money in the wrong places. That might be why the bigger banks are more concerned too, is like, wow, if the feds keep jacking up the rates, the bond yields are going to tip over, and then we're going to be locked in where we have these long-term bond yields that are actually costing us money, and we need the money today, and we're going to take a penalty like SVB did.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they're worried about. I don't know.
Could be.
So
I haven't seen any changes, Johnny, that would say that they're tightening up the guidelines for getting your loan approved, right? So normally you would say, okay, well, wait a second. Now debt to income ratios are going to get down. Like they're going to come lower, right? So you have to, instead of finding at 45% of your gross income, maybe the max is 42%, right? That change hasn't come through. There might be some changes. They're always tweaking what's called the automated underwriting model. So some people might be familiar with DU, or Desktop Underwriter. That's Fannie's product. There's also Loan Prospector, which is Freddie's product. But those are essentially computer aided decision-making tools. Right. So you plug in the application, all the information is accurate. You run it through the automated underwriting. It tells you whether it gets approved or not. So you might see some restrictions in that model that's kind of behind the scenes, but maybe there's some things that they're looking at on the credit report a little differently. Like if you have X amount of collections over a certain amount of dollars, that's going to be a risk, assess. They're going to assess that risk and maybe not approve you at the same higher ratio that they would, 3 months ago. So they haven't like announced any tweaks like that, but they certainly haven't changed the rules as far as how you calculate income, what types of incomes can be used, how you have to document cash. They haven't tightened up or loosened up on any of that stuff.
Could there be overlay? Oh, I'm sorry, Johnny.
No, please.
Could there be overlays from the bank? So maybe that the requirements from the federal government for conforming loans are the same.
So,
but that the banks have overlays who are saying, we know that Freddie Mac will take 45% debt to income ratio, but we want 42.
Yeah, so absolutely. So if there's we talked about how do you throttle back on the amount of loans that are written. So at an individual lender level, instead of following Fannie and Freddie's or FHA or VA's rules or guidelines to the letter, they might put some rules on top of the rules, or what Jim called an overlay. And that way, that individual lending institution is going to throttle back the amount of loans they're doing simply by making it harder. And it could be debt to income restrictions. It could be as simple as reserves, Jim. Right. So you got to show 6 months of reserves after closing, not money you need for closing, but you got to have 6 months of your mortgage payment, or we're not doing your loan, right? Or you have to have 2-year self-employment history average when Freddie Mac would allow 1 year average, for example. So they can put those overlays on top if they want to scale back their own portfolio. Yeah.
So that's all. So we'll see if these banks are going to start creating overlays. Overlays, now that Mike jogged my memory about what happened during COVID, the overlays were real back then. And we were saying, don't go to the big box banks. If you get rejected from a big box bank, that doesn't mean Mike can't do the loan for you.
Yeah.
Because Mike had no overlays, right? And when I say Mike, the mortgage firm had no overlays at the time. So even though that one of the banks can tell you no, that doesn't mean that it's no way. It's just no at that bank sometimes. Sometimes you can get the same loan that you're looking for, no difference, right? But at a different lender because they don't have the stricter individual requirements that they
slightly different, at least. Yeah.
So that's a good tip. We might be sliding into that again. That tool might be coming out of our toolbox. You might hear that message more. A couple other things that are happening in the economy, I think that's important related to mortgages and everything else. The jobs report. Did you see the jobs report came out?
I did,
Johnny. So it's funny when you read that report, what it says is that for the first time in 12 months, the job report came in lower than what the prediction was. I don't know if you remember January, but January was a big deal because they said 512,000 people got employed that month. And they were expecting something like 300 and something, and they had 500. Well, they scaled that back to 472. So they didn't hit 500,000 people hired that month.
Right.
But this month we had 235,000, if I'm not mistaken, 235,000 new jobs reported. The unemployment rate went down from 3.6 to 3.5. But they were predicting that there would be 239,000 jobs. So they were only off by 4,000, right?
But coming a little softer instead of overshooting.
But that's the first month that they didn't overshoot.
So it's a little bit under expectation, and they revised down the earlier report.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. They're saying, is this the beginning of a cooling down trend where the employers are saying, okay, we've hired enough people, we're taking a break. Let's see what we got with the people we have. And other companies, depending on the industry, they're laying off people.
I was going to say, it really depends on I'm telling you what, if you're in the retail world at all, if you're shopping, pay attention to the staffing. It just doesn't exist.
I know.
Retail has scaled back on staffing so dramatically that I'm paying attention to the jobs numbers, and I'm like, people just aren't applying. They're not applying for unemployment. That's why we're not seeing any shift. I think
it's going to be very interesting to see how all this turns out. Hard landing, soft landing, because we still haven't had the recession yet. We've been talking for 18 months now about this recession, and it hasn't come yet.
Yeah, well, what determines, like, what's the definition of the soft landing? So 18-month kind of slow burn seems pretty soft.
Yeah, that like I said, you might be right about that, but I don't feel like we're stabilized yet.
Yeah.
So we could still have that hard landing.
Well, and the Fed is still signaling that they're going to
push
keep doing what they're doing, right? Maybe their tone is, I mean, it's weird. You get into the nuance of like what's really going to happen with the Fed, but they're watching these employment reports, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're watching consumer spending. They're watching, inflation, I guess, is just their big one. So
I know this is in California, and I know they're like their own world economy, but there's a big concert that was announced like last week that went on sale this week in October out there.
Mm-hmm.
3 nights, 6 acts, huge bands: Guns N' Roses, Iron Maiden, AC/DC Reunion, Tool, Metallica, and Ozzy Osbourne is back on the stage.
Wow.
Right? The pricing is, as I'm rolling through when those tickets went on sale, because I'm like, well, I'm going to buy them and maybe I'll sell them if I have to. I don't know how anybody could contemplate a recession based on and I know it's California, and I know that it's like their own global economy over there. I get it, but the pricing for that weekend alone, I'm like, I don't know how anybody could with a straight face say we're having any kind of recession.
What's a 3-day pass look like for that concert?
So if you wanted like seats down towards the front, you and me seats, we could get in for about $6,500.
I thought you were going to say $800, $900.
I was
Yeah,
thinking
no.
1,000, but then you said seats in the front. I'm like, okay, well that's going to be pricey.
6,500.
What's
So
a normal
the
ticket?
pit in the front? The pit in the front was, I think, if you bought them through the first run of on sale, the pre-sale, I think they were like 2,500 for pit
Yikes.
individual.
So what was your
GA
budget going into this? Just I'm curious.
GA is 650 or 700 for the weekend. GA.
Okay.
Yeah, but you're like
It's still a lot.
200 yards away.
Still
from
a
the
lot
station.
because you don't want to go by yourself either. You're like, oh, let me get
Well,
a couple
that's-
tickets.
That's just to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were already in full gouge mode for the hotels. But I'm looking at pricing, Jim, and I'm like, how can anyone with a straight face say there's a recession? Because you know what they're going to do? Sell the hell out of those tickets.
I just had to go to. We'll wrap up with this and take a quick break. I just had to go to a car dealership to deal with some car thing, and they're saying that they're doing very well over there.
I bet.
And about 8 months ago or 6 months ago, it looked like they were really complaining.
Probably doing record profits like everyone else.
Yeah, but they're doing very well. The car dealerships right now is what I'm seeing, and it's
very,
pretty
very
interesting.
well.
Yeah,
Right.
right. Yeah.
Let's do a little quick reset. 4 minutes from now, we'll get back at it. Remember, Florida Talk Real Estate is .com, your one-stop real estate shop. Know it, use it, love it, and share it. Florida Talk Real Estate.com. 4 minutes from now, we're back at it. Great to have you with us every Saturday. Florida Talk Real Estate right here. It's Real Radio.
The bad news, the brain isn't all that great at hearing stuff and remembering it. The good news, you can watch us too. Like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Real Radio 92.1.
From the Gordon and Partners Weather Center. Have you or a loved one been injured through no fault of your own? Call 561-333-3333 or go to fortheinjured.com.
I'm CBS 12 meteorologist Jennifer Collins. A mix of sun and clouds for the afternoon with a chance for a shower or two. Temperatures in the mid-80s with a southeast wind between 5 to 10 miles per hour. A few passing clouds overnight with a stray shower into Sunday morning. Still warm on Sunday with highs in the mid-80s and the chance for afternoon thundershowers.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance can protect your small business with over 30 coverage options, an easy-to-use mobile app, personalized discounts, and more. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rauch from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rauch will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rauch, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Camaronets, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
You're listening to Real Radio 92.1, and we are an iHeart radio station. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
Still got about 23 minutes or so on this Saturday. 2 hours of infotainment flies right on by for us. Hopefully it does for you as well. If you want to be a part of the show, questions, comment, concern in the world of real estate, 877-927-6969. Just make sure when you're calling in, you say good morning to Sharice, who's filling in admirably for Jimothy today. How are you, Sharice?
Wonderful. Good morning.
Thank you for all of your efforts today. Appreciate you very much. If you're not comfortable on the radio, always remember Florida Talk Real Estate is a .com. I'm your boy, Johnny C. Mike Rao, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
And Jim DePola. I call him Jimmy D. But Jim DePola is our fearless leader. He's been running a top producing Keller Williams team for about, 11 plus years now. Oh, longer than that?
Yeah.
We've been doing the radio show for 11 plus years.
11 plus years, yeah. So 12, 13 years, something like that.
Undershooting the
Been
runway.
around a little bit.
A little bit.
Yep.
Knows a little bit. Learn something new every day, I'm sure. That's what happens when you're in the trenches every day. Again, Keller Williams Innovations, you'll find the Florida Home Pros team and Jimmy D.
Wanted to mention something. May 11th is called Red Day for Keller Williams Realty. Red Day is a volunteer day where the Keller Williams agents, there's about 200,000 of us all across the country and the world, do something to impact the community in some way on that special day as a thank you. The reason why Keller Williams created this was because one of the chief executive officers, Mo Anderson, who is just an icon in the Keller Williams world. She helped build this company back in the late 80s. And she was just all about charity, and she's just a very powerful figure. So they wanted to, every time that she had a birthday, she didn't want anything. She wanted people to give something to somebody else.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's the way Mo is. And so they came up with Keller Williams as a thank you to Mo Anderson. Her birthday is May 11th. So they created a national campaign where all the agents were going to do something for Mo. Isn't that cool?
That is really cool.
Yeah. So we've done, I'm getting tingles just talking about it. So we, the company has done so many things over the year locally down here, impacting the community. So this year we're going to be helping the Knights of Pythagoras Mentoring Network. I know that's a big mouthful, but he calls it, C. Ron Allen is the founder of the group. It's called KOPMN, Knights of Pythagoras Mentoring Network.
KOPMN.
Yeah, not a very, doesn't roll off your tongue, but C. Ron started this program probably 35 years ago when we worked at the Sun Sentinel together. He was a reporter. I was a reporter. He really believes, former military veteran, really believes in giving back to the community. That's been his whole life. He basically worked at the Sun Sentinel to help fund this program, and he started it by himself. He based it in Delray. It grew and grew and grew, and it's done pretty well. And 35 years later, he's still doing it. It's to help at-risk kids.
Awesome.
He had after daycare centers placed in some of the public schools where he was able to get low rent to run this nonprofit program.
To do aftercare at the schools?
To do aftercare at the schools.
I know it's highly needed.
Oh my gosh. When I lived in Delray and used to volunteer down there, it was just very powerful to watch because 80% of the kids that C-Ron was taking care of, the only food that they were going to eat that day came from school lunches.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about kids that are at risk. And so many of the kids have gone on to great college careers, getting professional jobs when they graduate high school, stay out of trouble, not involved with the police and things like that, and are very involved in activities. And C-Ron is now trying to do a TV show. He's trying to work it out. But he's looking for a 15-person passenger van. And I was surprised because I haven't talked to C-Ron for about 5 years, and he still doesn't have the van.
Oh.
So they also could use clothes for the children for a Dress for Success Day. So we're looking for like clothes for kids that are from 8 years old to 17 years old, to dress nice, like think of Sunday school clothes or something like that. And we'd love to get those donations. So anybody that wants to help out with this or wants to donate, please give us a call on our 888 number.
It's 888-973-7828, floridatalkrealestate.com.
Sorry.
You're good.
Is he looking for a van to use for the day
No,
or
they're
to buy?
looking for a real van. They want a van donated that they can do. They've worked with car dealerships and city governments and things like that, but it just never came through for them.
There's this parking lot that I come to often that has like 2 of those just sitting there. Right? 2 of those 15 passenger van just sitting there.
That's an inside joke, iHeartMedia.
Yes, just rotting in a parking lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
They don't move, huh?
They haven't for years.
Yeah, that's interesting. So, so anybody that wants to help with this charity, please reach out. Say, hey, I want to get involved. We think we're going to be doing something April 30th, not May 11th for the group because of the way it works out for KOPMN. But this is a really powerful program. And once you kind of get involved in it, you kind of get addicted because the impact that you have on these kids is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And they're so grateful. They're so grateful. They're not like take things for granted. So it's just really, really nice. So anybody that wants to help out, I'd love to join forces with you. So give us a call.
Yeah, floridatalkrealestate.com, Facebook, YouTube as well. There's all kinds of way to connect. But always remember, floridatalkrealestate.com. Me and Mike have a group, the KTSN, the Nights That Say Neat.
Nights That Say Neat. I like that.
Neat.
I like
Is
that.
it knee or
Python.
neat? Knee.
Is
Or did we change it?
Did we
for
cha-
us?
I thought we
It's a
changed
neat.
it. Did we
Okay,
change it?
got it.
I thought it was neat. I thought it was neat.
I could be wrong. Right.
I like that. So I wanted to talk about something that, we were talking a little earlier today about when is the property, quote, funded so that the buyer can get the keys. And the short version is it's funded when the title company gives a receipt to the seller that they've wired the money to the seller. Basically, that's the bottom line, because that means the title company has recognized that the money from the lender has come in, the money's good, and now they've sent it to the seller. Right. And then you're supposed to produce the keys. Well, there's another thing that can really screw up a sale, and it almost happened to me last week, and I wanted to talk about it because this is one of the most uncomfortable parts when I'm taking a listing, is talking to the sellers, especially if it's a condo, most importantly a condo, and you say to them, look, one of the things that we have to do is that we have to give a whole list of condo docs to the buyer to review, and they have 3 business days to review these. And if we don't give them those documents as soon as that, I'd like to give them the documents as part of the listing, but we need to give that to the buyers as quickly as possible so they can review those docs, because they have the legal right under Florida regulations for contracts in Florida, that the buyer has a right to review the condo docs. And if they're not comfortable with the condo docs, they could walk away, even if they've already gone through an inspection, an appraisal, they got the condo approval, everything. If everything's done, but they haven't reviewed those condo docs yet because the seller hasn't given it to them, they could just flip through those documents in 3 seconds and say, I don't want to live here. And you got to give them their deposit money back in the deal's dead, and they can get out of the contract.
Is it structured that they're supposed to receive those documents X number of days after execution or X number of days before closing? I want to say before closing.
I don't.
Right?
What this thing is they have 3 business days to review the docs. So It could be 3 days before you
That's
close.
what I'm thinking. Like they must be delivered at least 3 days before closing, which would be a huge mistake because it's like if the buyers got cold feet for whatever reason, they could just say, "Oh, we saw this paragraph in the condo declarations. We don't like it."
When I was a youngin before the radio show, when I was a youngin in this field, and I was trying to close my first condo sale as a listing agent.
They had condos back then?
Yeah, they had condos way back then. And I didn't know about all the condo docs you had to give to the buyer.
Yeah.
And we were in a changing market because this is 2011. Okay. So, we were in a really bad market at the time. So prices were keep dropping and dropping and dropping. So by the time this person went into contract for the house and the time that we were going to close, there were many other deals in that same community that were better than the deal he struck with us. And I didn't give him the condo docs. And then at the closing table, he says, I want to read the condo docs. I found out through my broker at the time, which was not Keller Williams. Yeah, you got to do that. I don't know how I produced them, but I worked my butt off and produced them that day. And he sat there and he just scrolled through it. He just flipped through the pages for like 3 seconds. And he looked up and he goes, I don't want the condo anymore. Because he wanted to buy a cheaper condo in the community. And I had no legal recourse for my sellers.
Wow.
So it's a really big deal. And you can't just give them like the rules and regulations. You have to give them, there's like 15 types of documents you got to give them, or 12 different type of documents. There's condo rules and regulations, articles of incorporation, right? Frequently asked questions, the condo financials, right? The financials for the condo.
That's part of it too?
Condo financials are part of it. You have to give them that too.
I know that. So like some of these documents would be required if you're doing a loan on the buy side. So like the lender has to do some level of vetting on the condo association. And that's it's unique to condos, Jim. Like the declarations and the articles that would be required on any homeowners association, right? Like a townhome community deal is.
You can't get out of the contract because of it.
Oh, it's only the condos where you can. Oh, okay.
Condos, you have to give it to them. With the HOA, you can give it or not give it. If they ask for it, you have to give it to them.
I mean,
but even if they don't ask for it, it's the seller's responsibility to give all these documents to them, right? And that's the trick about the condos. So what happened in this case is we were trying to close the deal. The buyer's financing fell apart. Okay. So then they hired an attorney. This is all last week. It sucked up all my week last week, right? So they hired an attorney right away. The attorney says, hey, we need 30 extra days to close. Now we already extended twice. So this would be like going to 90 days for closing now, right? Hey, we want to close 30 days from now because our financing fell through. We want to try a different type of financing. Oh, and by the way, he just says as a side, the attorney, by the way, we want to review all the condo docs. I was like, what? We've been into this deal for 75 deals. We've extended twice because she couldn't close. And now this attorney's asking for the condo docs. I know what that means because we already had taken $25,000 escrow deposit when they didn't. They
guaranteed it.
Guaranteed that it was non-refundable. We took the money back. Right? To extend the contract, we said, we'll give you the extra time to close, but we're going to take your deposit now and you're not getting it back. So if you don't close, we're keeping the $25,000. So when I saw what the attorney was asking for the condo docs, I could tell what they were trying to do. They were going to try to claw back the $25,000 that was already released. Right? So I, right away, me and Nancy, my admin, we went through all our documents to make sure that we gave everything that we were supposed to give. And we called the condo board again and we checked everything that we were supposed to give. And we had a document, the condo writer document. The condo writer document says how much the condo fees are and are there any special assessments, and there's those things. But there's also a little box that the buyer checks if they received the condo documents. And they checked that box and they signed it February 6th.
Because you had it in the listing available to any agent who has MLS access.
We put it up in the listing. So anybody on the MLS can look at it, right? So then I call up the attorney and I'm like, so what's going on? And it's like, why do you need the extension? And why are you asking for the condo docs? Now, the attorney just got involved that day. It was like brand new. So what the attorney did was he did the low hanging fruit because I shouldn't say nobody. only top professionals actually follow through on all that. And I did. So when I explained to him, we already went through all that. We have a document signed by your buyer saying that they were satisfied with what they received. You can't claw back and come back to us now.
Yeah.
They backed off right away.
I bet.
It reminds me, I was in court for some reason. This is an aside, but you just reminded me. The lawyer was just starting to examine the arresting officer, the ticket writing off. It wasn't for me. I was just in there for some unrelated thing. And the first question he asked him, he said, "Are you sure you're in the county? The county that you represent?" And the officer had to think about it for a second. So you just said low hanging fruit, right? So he's just trying to get him, either shake them right off the bat, or wait a second, were you on the county line or were you not? Yeah, exactly.
No jurisdiction. So that's what they tried. So they tried to pull the fast one on me. And let me tell you, it's hard to get those documents a lot of times. It's very difficult. And so this is what happens.
Tell me about
it. I know, Mike, right? So we sit down with the seller and we tell them, as we're taking the listing, this is so important. We need these documents. It is your responsibility, not our responsibility, your legal responsibility to give these documents to buyer. We will facilitate that. But chances are your property management company or the condo board, they're not going to be very easy to get these documents. I don't understand why they aren't at the fingertips of everybody that's involved in any kind of transactions in the condo. I don't even understand why that isn't happening.
It's
like the secret documents that are impossible to get.
When I first started in this world, because on the lending side, you have to get a lot of these documents just because of the vetting that's required for condo associations. And so property managers were the bane of my existence when I was first doing, and I was working for other loan originators and this was, a lot of stuff in Broward and Dade County. There was a lot of condo sales and it was tricky. And it was like pulling teeth getting anything from the property management people. And I would say that they have come a long way. They've got automated systems now where if they're with the right property manager, you can go online, you can order the stuff electronically, you can get your condo questionnaire, get all the declarations, get the budget, get the financials, and it's pretty seamless, although they do charge for it, right? There's several $100s to get this stuff. And I've learned through the years where to find stuff, right? You can go to public records, like the declarations, the articles, those are all on public records. But property management companies have always, you never know what you're going to get, even to today.
And they can end up hurting people and hurting their own community, because deals will fall apart because of this. And now you're not getting the highest prices possible because deals fall apart. Condo goes back on market. Not getting what they should get. It becomes a really big problem. And the other thing is sometimes if you can't go to the property manager, you have to go to the condo board. I remember we're at one of the 55 and over condominium places, and the whole board, we were here during the summer, and the whole board had moved back home and nobody was available to talk to us.
They're closed for the flu.
Yeah, and they couldn't sign off on anything. Yeah, and that was the thing. They didn't want to come back because of COVID, because it was 55 and over. We couldn't get anything done. It would basically just stifle transactions. So these condo documents are really, really important. And if you don't do that, it's an out for the buyers that you just don't want to give them.
Yeah.
And people get buyer's remorse. And if there's a way to get out, and this attorney was just doing their job. It's funny, we've closed probably 15 deals with that attorney. Now, he didn't know me personally because I've never talked to him. But I'm like, I've done 15 deals with your company. I know, your company's legit. You guys know we're legit, and I'm telling you, this is what happened. You know what I mean? I got documents to prove it.
Yeah.
And he goes, so he paused and he goes, "You're telling me the documents are on the MLS?" And I go, "Yeah, we put it as part of the listing. It's attached to the listing. Anybody can see, any realtor can see it." And then they called the buyer's agent. The attorney did. Buyer's agent said, "Jim gave me those documents day one."
Yeah.
In fact, we had the document signed February 6th.
And they checked the box off.
And they went into contract February 7th. So we gave them, they reviewed the documents before they even went into contract.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? So don't get burned by that. If you got a condo and your realtor is asking for these contracts, first of all, good for your realtor, because not enough people are doing it. Good for you. But if they're asking and you think this is a pain in the butt, you don't even know what a pain in the butt is if you have the experience that we almost had again. And that happened 11 years ago, 12 years ago, the first time. I don't want it to ever happen.
I was going to say, and you just had this, but you know what you're doing. Like, imagine an agent who doesn't know what they're doing, who didn't have resources, who couldn't like check all, like, yeah, we did this. I mean, that would be a major, what do you call it, Johnny? Snafu?
That's a snafu.
It's a snafu.
Yeah.
I did call Paul, and Paul Krasker from the law office.
Better call Paul.
Krasker, better call Paul.
Yeah.
So I called
He
Paul
is a
just
lawyer.
for some quick advice. And, Paul's brutally honest, right? So Paul said, if you didn't give him every single document, even if you gave everything you could, but even if the condo board doesn't give you a document that is required by the state regulations, buyer can get out.
So if the board doesn't provide
Even
you,
the
so
board
you
doesn't-
think you've gotten everything, but the board didn't give you everything, you're still in a bad spot.
You're still in a bad spot. So if any board members are listening to this show right now, just remember this is really important. And if you're smart, you will get all those things online with your property manager. Like Mike says, it's a beauty when you can just go online and give the buyer a link and say everything is over here.
Yeah.
Well, as you noted, you're helping your community. You're on the board of this community, and you're kind of more than kind of. You're doing it a disservice by allowing these potential pitfalls.
Sometimes the people actually act upset that you're asking for these documents. And when you
Jeez.
explain it's a state regulation that you're trying to comply with for the seller's behalf, which is paying their fee, right? Or voting for them or whatever, right? To the condo board. And they act like they don't care.
Huh.
And it's really can be very difficult. So don't get burned by not turning over the condo docs. And if you're selling a condo and you've interviewed agents and they're not talking to you about this, well,
Ruh-roh.
They just go list it up. What type of offers are you accepting? Cash, conventional, FHA, VA.
And it's very difficult.
If you see that on a condo, chances are your buyer's agent, your listing agent might have missed a couple sessions in class.
Yeah. Get refresher classes. Don't get burned by not having the proper condo docs. It's really, really important. So, how much time do we have?
You got about a minute and a half.
Yeah.
Oh, a minute and a half.
That's what the music means.
So, I don't hear any music.
You don't hear it?
No.
Well, turn your
now I hear
headphones up.
music. Okay, cool.
Turn my
Turn it
headphones
up.
up. Turn the bass up a little bit.
Okay. Well, I guess that's the end of the show.
It is. Yeah, it's official. Was it knee or neat?
It's
Mike?
N-I, knee.
Knee.
The Knights who say knee. So your entire life
it's
you've been saying it
N-I?
wrong.
Yeah, I have.
You guys,
thought it
both
was
of you.
neat.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
It's knee. All right. So we changed it for our purposes then.
Neat.
Yeah,
Neato.
because it's copyrighted.
That's right.
That's right. Florida Talk Real Estate is the .com, your one-stop real estate shop. If you haven't been, you should check it out. Familiarize yourself a little bit. Maybe while you're there, you'll be like, ooh, I do have a need. But share it. Most importantly, if you're on social, you never know who you could absolutely be changing their lives when you're giving them pros, experts in their field, and they work cohesively together. If you've been with this team, I'm sure you're recommending, but go ahead and give it a go. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com, your one-stop real estate shop on Facebook and YouTube as well. Consume away and share. Mike Rauch, happy Easter.
Thank you.
Have a
You
great
too.
holiday weekend and enjoy yourself.
You too. And don't forget the NKOTB. Boom. Little test for you.
NKOTV.
Old school.
Jim DePola, while I'm thinking about NKOTV, I hope you have an excellent Easter. Happy weekend
Easter to you and
friend.
your family, everybody. I hope you enjoy. Happy Passover.
New
Happy
kids.
everything.
New kids.
New kids on the block.
Boom.
I am so done with you today.
Boom.
Sharice, thank you for your efforts today.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Did you know NKOTB?
I didn't. He looked at me to see
Yeah.
if I did.
I can't tell how old you
Way
are. You
too
look
young.
way too young.
I'm
Way
34. I
too young.
know about them, but I didn't grow up listening to them.
Good
Yeah.
for you, Sharice. Good for you.
Wasn't Mark Wahlberg in that?
No.
That
No?
was the other wall, his brother.
Oh,
Donnie-
there we go.
Donnie
Donnie,
Wahlberg.
there we go.
There you go. He was
See, I know a little bit.
Mark was a funky bunch.
There we go.
Marky
yeah,
Mark.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a Boston girl, so that's how I know.
Watched it. You a big Tom fan?
A what?
Tom? You like Tom? Tom Brady?
Oh, Tom Brady.
Trom?
Oh, you said Trom. I thought you said Trom.
You like Tom?
Yeah, love
Yeah?
him. Love
All
him.
right, all right. We got to go. Locker room's next. They'll probably talk more about